karate's bare knuckle hook punch, Mawashizuki. How do we land it, and what's the correct position with our hands? Obviously, we don't have a boxing glove, so our position is slightly different. If the hand is not protected by the glove, we have to be a little bit more conscious of how we're landing to prevent injury to ourselves. What I want to be doing is landing with my first two knuckles, okay, like we would for a normal punching position, in Japanese karate at least. I know some Okinawan styles use the bottom knuckles at some stage, but we're going to be talking about specifically Shotokan karate anyway. So what I want to do is make sure I'm hooking my hand over and turning it into the target this way, in order to allow my first two knuckles to land. If I turn my hand this way round, and I'm going to land with these first two, I can get what's called a boxer's fracture. And what that is this fragile bone down here can snap under the pressure of impact. And I know this because I've done it myself, so you don't have to, okay? So I want to be making sure I'm turning my wrist over on that impact and landing here with these first two knuckles, okay? So what I'll do is I'll show you that on a training partner, and then I'll show you also on the back. Okay, so please. So what I'm trying to do then is I don't want to be landing too much on a hard target, because obviously we're bare knuckle and the hands are still fairly fragile. If I'm going to hit him in the head, the safest thing most of the time is for me to hit with an open hand. You know, I can hit with a Taisho type technique, you know, the palm strikes, these kind of things. So when I'm landing with these first two knuckles with this hook punch, I want to be maybe coming down and landing into the neck and things like this, or maybe the temple up high there. Definitely not the top of the skull, because I end up hurting myself more so. So this looks a little like this, right? So the curve is coming over, and I'm rotating the wrist and making impact here, okay, into the side of the head this way. This can obviously be set up with a jab or something, as you would in any striking art. Jab comes in, hook comes over the top, Mawashizuki. Okay, this way. Now, if we try and do it on a bag, I'll show you some techniques there for the bag work, and show how we can get some power into that technique. Okay, so one exercise that I like to do to sort of demonstrate this technique is to throw that jab across here, almost like I'm missing the target. What I'm doing now is I'm setting this hip up because I want to make this big rotation into the pad. Okay, so remembering, I'm turning the wrist over, so I'm coming down slightly with my first two knuckles. So I'm making that Kizamizuki, or that jab, and then I'm going to pull that hand back to a guard position, and I'm going to send that hook in this way using the full body technique. Okay, so I'm here, sending that, and coming round, making impacts. Send, hip, and round. 1, 2. As I pull the jab back, I want to guard my head again. 1, here. Making sure I've got this hand up to protect myself from them returning anything to me. As we know, the hand should be up in close range. At a greater distance, hands can be down lower. As I come forwards, hands must be up to protect myself up here. Legs can protect the lower half of my body. So again, send the hip in. Now focus on rotating. Bam, sending this hip through for that Mawashizuki. Again, first two knuckles landing, not these ones. Round. Okay, so hopefully you found that helpful. Again, as always, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done. Drop me a comment down below if you want to see something else, and I'll try and get to your requests as well. See you next time.